right, welcome guys. This is the Alola division, season 3 of UGA. I'm your moderator, JP Lacey, or J Placey as I've been known to called. So your two-time champion. I'm joined with Knight Rider here and P-Don'ts, and we're just going to do a quick little power ranking video. So, Ryder, you want to take it away?
Sure. Let's start with who was the first pick in the draft? I forgot.
That was
Becca, Fenhal Frosties.
Frosties.
Okay. All right. I guess we can start here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, my thoughts initially is that it's like a hard trick room team. I don't love hard trick room for draft, but you know, she does have the Tornadus, which I don't know if it fits well with the team or if it doesn't. I mean, you know, she could go offensive Tornadus and kind of throw you for a loop, but other than that, I don't see a whole lot outside of trick room that she's going to go with. What about you guys' thoughts?
So, oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Here's the thing with her team. It's obviously trick room heavy, yes, but I also feel like besides the fact she has the anti-intimidate with the Tornadus for both Tapu Bulu, Stack Attack, Galastria, she has a decent fast mode as well, if you believe it. Prankster Tailwind is obviously good. By going down to the D tier to pick up Drifloom, she also does get that Unburden Tailwind with the seed. And there are some things on this team that can get deceptively fast. Like, for example, if she actually ran Tailwind Galastria, she could get that thing up to 180 speed. So she actually has a way to play both slow and fast with this team, and has some pretty strong offensive hitters. I think if she plays it well, she'll have a lot of tricks that she can throw at her opponents by week.
Right. Yeah. Zerg. Okay. First, how about we introduce ourselves? So let me go first, and then we'll introduce you, Pete Johnson.
Sorry, fellas.
No worries. Okay, I'm the one who jumped into like the first team anyway, so it's partly my fault. I am KS Knight Rider, and I finished second in the UGA last season, like second overall, and I'm the reigning Sinnoh division champion, I guess. I have gone to, I guess, 6 finals in different draft leagues now. I've only won 1, but 6 finals is fine. And P-Dons?
Yeah. As for me, I'm Patrick, aka P-Dons. This is my first time playing UGA, but I have a lot of real world on like IRL VGC experience. Qualified for Worlds a few times. I've helped out in front offices in WBE and XDL, and I also recently made playoffs in Jinfurai's High Roller Draft League, which has a pretty significant buy-in.
Yeah, so that's us. And now for my thoughts on this team. Yes, it can go fast with Tailwind, so even though a lot of its mons are slow and it feels like a primarily Trick Room team, it does have the ability to go fast, and it's got 2 pretty, like, couple of heavy hitters, and I think Xurkitree's kind of slept on because that thing can hit hard, and obviously like Beast Boost really help like it snowball it not handled properly, and it has some like good coverage. As far as Drifloon, I don't like it as a D tier. I know she has Bulu, and it's just like the Rillaboom Drift Blim like light essentially is what she has, but it just doesn't feel as good because then I'm bringing Drift Blim or Drift Bloom into a match, and that just doesn't feel great, honestly. But I think it's got some bulk. It's got a lot of physical bulk. I think it has a little less special bulk, though I guess Boo is just bulky in general. But yeah, I think it can do things. It also has that copycat trick room mode with stack attack Riolu, which is
With
always
coaching.
with coaching, which is always dangerous. So Riolu can do some stuff. Yeah, I mean there are ways around it. So it's Drac, which it's not that hard to like plan for it, but there are ways around it. And she has like several different modes, so that's not the only thing they have to prep for. So I think there's a lot to prep for. As far as cores go, it's kind of missing its cores, right? Dragon.
He does have a fantasy
Well,
core.
Yeah,
Fantasy core.
there's a fantasy core, but there's no fire, water, grass, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's the only core she has is a fantasy core, unless like.
Doesn't have the ground flying electric.
Yeah. No dark fighting psychic either. So. You know, a lot of 2 out of 3 pieces.
Right. So I mean, the fantasy core is pretty good. Arguably, probably one of the best in our league.
Yeah.
And Glacier can be broken if used properly. I feel like this team
That's the
can
thing,
really
yeah.
use redirection.
Agreed.
Like I feel like this team really Gengar really wants it. Stack kind of wants it as well, and Glacier definitely wants it. I feel like this team could really use some redirection. If it did, I think it'd be very, very scary. But
Yeah, it's a shame there's no D tier redirection because if she was able to cut Drifloon for even the Rage Powdermon, like even Belly Drum Extreme Speed lining benefits, it would be beautiful for our team.
Yeah, no, they made redirection so difficult, like so expensive this season.
Very expensive. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, more expensive than it's ever been. So.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, Becca's team, like, it's definitely a snowball team, right? I mean, if you're not ready for what she's about to throw at you, and you know, Glacier gets going, or Circuitry gets going, or Guzzlord gets going, you're just kind of a sitting duck. And even Tornadus, you know, if you accidentally lead Intimidate and she goes to find Tornadus, so.
Right.
Definitely an interesting team. A lot of stuff to prep for, but I think that's what you're going to see with all the teams in our draft. Everyone drafted really well.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do some nitpicking here, fellas. But
all right, let's jump into the tier list and see where we want to rank it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that it's pretty strong. I think it's going to be difficult to prep for. I would probably put it in B. I mean, this is the first team we're ranking, so obviously we can like move
adjust
up
as
and
we
down
go.
as we go.
Yeah.
But I feel comfortable with it in B. How does everyone else feel?
That's what I was thinking going in.
Yeah, I'll probably rank it a B plus. So like in between B or A. But if I have to pick one of those, I would probably go with B. Like if she can get like redirection, or maybe one more piece to complete a core, I feel like this team could really do stuff. But as it is, even now, she still has a lot that needs to be prepped for, and is going to give her opponents problems.
Yeah, I feel like having both her Trick Room setters be weak to ground is going to be interesting for her, because I feel like that's going to be her primary mode.
Yeah.
All right, what was the second?
LA Wanoons.
LA. Oh yeah, so this is our other resident.
Sinnoh champ.
Yeah, other resident Sinnoh champ.
Yeah.
Matrix.
So first thoughts.
All in the same division.
I know. So first thoughts on this team. I mean, you know, Cinderace is always going to be a challenge. You know, screens with Grimmsnarl is very good. As
All right,
far as cores.
For clarification, it was the Gmax Cinderace drafted, not the Dmax.
Yes. the
Yeah,
G-Max.
that's the G-Max. Yep.
Okay. Alright.
Can't set Sun with Cinderace.
Yeah.
They can with their Rotom Heat, I guess.
That's true.
Which is interesting, right? Because Vileplume's a chlorophyll user. So I guess the only way for them to really set Sun would be the max Rotom Heat.
Yeah. Or
Yeah, because Grimmsnarl doesn't get any
I
weather.
think Espeon gets Sunny Day.
Okay.
Saxos get like Fire Fang, but now we're going pretty deep.
Right. I do think Espeon does get Sunny Day, so
Okay.
let me just make sure. But keep
I
going.
can look it up for you too.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. You can keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got a Steel Fairy Dragon with Grim, Magnezone, and Haxorus. Also a fighting Psychic Dark with Grim, the Hitmonlee, the Espeon. And there's also a Azumarill there with Fairy typing. And Gallade there with fighting typing. Fire, Water, Grass with Cinderace, the Azumarill, and the Vileplume. So, I mean, he's got a lot of his cores covered. Some synergy, I don't see it. Like, I mean, Cinderace is one of those mons that just like it lives in redirection, but like you can get away without using redirection in draft. No obvious Sun for Vileplume. So that's one thing. Like, there's nothing to like proc and on burden for Hitmonlee unless you do like a I don't know, psychic move with Espeon or Gallade there maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It doesn't really have a good way to proc on Burden. There's a lot of repeat typings, like a lot of repeat typings. There's like multiple water types, multiple fairy types, multiple fire types, multiple fighting types. There's a lot of repeat typings on this.
True. Yeah.
Which is fine because they're all like in cores, but it all feels like maybe I could have gone for a different typing so that I can have better switch-ins or like more variability in my switch-ins.
The thing I will give this team though is that a lot of its like top picks feel very, very powerful. So when you've only got 11 mons that you can use in a draft league, by having something like Cinderace, Grimmsnarl, like Rotom Heat, Belly Drum Azumarill plus Fake Out, like even if the synergy could be better, this team has the capability to run over a lot of teams if it gets going.
Right. I think I completely agree with that. I really just wish this team had like a better ground type. I guess Quagsire is a ground type, but it just doesn't the best ground type.
Yeah. Also, not much in terms of speed control either. I mean, I think that
that's the
with this team, you want to like. It looks like they're gonna want to outbulk you, rather than outspeed you.
Yeah, I mean, it has 2 Trick Room setters, I guess, in Gallade
Yes,
and
Espeon and Gallade. Mm-hmm.
But like, are those the most reliable Trick Room setters? It has no Tailwind users, so I mean, I guess Grimmsnarl
like
with Scary Face and Thunder Wave are its best slow my opponent down options.
Yeah.
And then there's always Airstream from Cinderace, and I think Hitmonlee also gets it. But
yeah, and Rotom is, and even Magnezone, they're certainly bulky enough to run Thunder Wave. So, but like it's not. It doesn't look great on paper, the speed control, but deceptively, it's there.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. I think you can prep for it. I think that's another problem with like ground types because it's relying a lot on Thunder Wave. Ground types against this team feel pretty good. Like almost very good because they're really only afraid of Azumarill
No, I wouldn't be afraid of Vileplume.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. that just
Yeah, I think that this team, I mean, and you'll see this with a lot of the teams in the draft. There's tricks up their sleeve, but just looking at it, just on paper, and not looking at the coach of the team. I wouldn't put this as very high on the list of what what other teams drafted. Not saying that all day won't pilot this team really well, but it wasn't one of the ones that jumped out at me.
Very good
That's
coach.
fair.
So I mean that kind of helps it. So where do we think it goes?
I'd probably put it at the C.
I would actually put it more solidly in B. I think. Obviously, me being new, I don't know the coaches that well, so I have to just rank on the Mons. But looking at this team, I do think there's enough there to potentially run your opponent over, or to get appropriate status or speed control or stuff like that. It's that there are definitely improvements that can be made during after week 4, but I do think there's enough here.
Yeah. So I definitely don't think it's as good as the first team.
Yeah, Becca's team I think is a little better, but we can always adjust as we go.
But I think it does deserve like a B rank. So yeah, we're actually going a lot faster than like Matrix and Co, which I'm glad about. All right,
That's great.
Who's third?
Hold on, let me
Lake
pull it
Erie.
up.
Lake
Yeah.
Erie, wishy-washy. It's okay. Blue. There. Okay. Go.
All right, so there's a definite fire water grass core there. You got the Feeny, you got the Rose Raid, got the Slowbro. There ended up being 2/3 of the fantasy core.
No, he's got it.
No, he actually does have it. He's got the Phoenix Cavalier and Gudra, so those are all solid mons. There are 3 physical attackers here, really good ones, with the Scavalier, Mamoswine, Gudra if he wants to run it that way, plus a Defiant user in Zapdos, so he's got the Intimidate protection. And if he wants to get into Trick Room, he's basically got an untauntable Trick Room with Slowbro, which is really, really good. And he ended up even going down into the D tier to pick up some Lightning Rod to protect his Feeny, Zapdos, and Slowbro. And it looks like the Mamoswine can even proc Policy with Ice Shard on Gudra, Rose Raid, and Zapdos. I mean, this is for core wise and synergy, it seems pretty good.
Yeah.
I agree, except for I don't want Mamoswine proccing my policy with Ice Shard.
I agree there
It does so much damage.
especially against
True.
Gudra.
Against Gudra, against Zapdos, it does so much damage. It's not
Yeah.
it's not the mon I want to be proccing policy with. So
Which is true.
So that's a thing, and I think Stonejourner kind of always ends up being dead weight. It's good in theory, but it's always when I bring it, it just feels like I'm gonna lose that game.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with. I mean, this is one of my favorite teams just because it's got some of my favorite mons as far as Gudra and Mamoswine. Not to mention Manetric's a great D tier. Slowbro is a great Trick Room setter. Escav I think is probably one of the best values in C this year. I know the mods were talking, having a debate whether it belongs in B or C. I think it was a little weak in B, but it's very strong in C. Yeah, it's just there's not much in terms of fast mode for this team, besides maybe Airstream with the Zapdos. But I mean, Gudra, if you're going up against a special team, you put Gudra out there and it'll just sit, and it'll just soak up hits and take you out. So if you don't have an answer to Gudra, I mean, Gudra can just kind of sweep a whole team. The same thing with like, you have to bring fire coverage against them, or else that Scavalier could just sweep you as well. Like I said, this is one of my favorite teams of the draft. But yeah, definitely some room for improvement as far as like proccing a weakness policy on Goodra. I know Goodra like wants like either a sap sipper or a weakness policy to really thrive. And I like you said, Ryder, I wouldn't rely on an ice shard from Mamo to be proccing your weakness policy because
Yeah,
a lot of your
yeah,
health.
you typically don't want to do that, but it is an option.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just don't want to be 33% health down before I start on doing damage, because Mamo hits pretty hard, and that stab ice coverage is good. I agree that it has some of my favorite mons. Like, I think Feeny is great. He actually, I think, played me in another league where I had Feeny, and Feeny did like a really good job. I love Manectric. My problem with this team is it has only one Trick Room setter. It's a very good Trick Room setter, but there's only one. And if you're able to double into Slowbro or KO it, this team doesn't go fast very well.
Yeah.
Like you said, Zapdos is its only fast mon. It's relying on bulk a lot, and it has some bulky mons, but mons that are like susceptible to like one side or the other. Like the Scavalier is pretty bulky, but on the special side, it's pretty not bulky. Goodra is pretty bulky on the special side, but on the physical side, like Mimikyu can KO it.
Yeah. Beartick can KO it
Right.
easily.
Like things that are like don't normally KO things can KO it. Same thing with Mamoswine, though Mamoswine can't be intimidated, which is really cool. And Feeny is pretty bulky all around, but still. When I was reviewing it, I thought it was kind of like middle of the road for me. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got different opinions. I'm cool with putting this kind of middle of the road. I kind of had it as an A tier, but I definitely see how it could fall down to B.
Yeah, if once again it feels a little bit like the first team for me, except a little better. I would probably put it B+, but since we don't have that, I think I lean low A.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
I can go with it. I probably personally put it in B. It's probably, to me, very similar, very much like in line with the first team, the Venhow, what is it?
Frosties.
But I can see it being low A, though I think to me it's pretty close to the Venhow Frosties. In terms of
I would kind of rank those two teams pretty closely as well. And if B tier ends up getting clogged up, maybe we move Frosties up to A.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
Okay. All right. What's the?
The next one is the Homeland Homesteaders. Land Homesteaders, that's it. So one thing that just like sticks out at me to this team, it's got two weather setters and like, I don't know. I just wish that Seismitoad was Beartick. In all honesty, I think that Beartick would be a better fit for this team just because it can do Slush Rush, it could do Swift Swim. It's got a little bit more coverage in my opinion, but I'm just more partial to Beartick, I think. Other than that, I mean, like, because they don't have a Hail Abuser. No like Blizzard Spammer. I mean, Ninetales is good, but it's gonna want to do too many things at the same time. And then it's got a good Trick Room setter in Zong. And the Zong Rhyperior combo, you know, it's good, but if that's all you're prepping for, you know, it can go down pretty quick. Incineroar is obviously Incineroar. Raikou, whatever. It's you know, it's a good mon, you know, with inner focus. But you know, Lurantis one of the better D tiers. But yeah, I think it's just missing a couple pieces in my opinion.
Yeah, the thing with the two weathers, I don't know if this was the intended strategy, but it basically gives Raikou 3 different types of weather ball. So that's so like if a ground type comes in to deal with it, you swap in the Ninetales, and the ground type is taking an ice type weather ball, and same thing with Pelipper as well. Also there, since it's draft league, you don't need to run Incineroar specifically as like Flare Blitz, Fake Out Parting Shot, and Dark Move. Like you could potentially go Bulldoze plus Max Incineroar, and it's got the attack stat and coverage to kind of start really hitting things. The Lurantis is nice Intimidate protection. Let's see what else. You obviously the Bronzong was mentioned, but Gardevoir can also help with Trick Room. This team does have the Tailwind, and does have a decent FWG core. I could definitely see Beartic over Seismitoad here. Like it's something that could take advantage of both weathers. And you know, you got the Fake Out and Dry Skin with Toxicroak. I kind of like this team actually.
Yeah, I actually thought that Beartic could have been in there instead of Toxicroak, since you already have Fake Out and Incineroar.
That's true.
Dry Skin's cool, but like I feel like it's not absolutely necessary. And Incin and Beartic can take advantage of both weathers, and Toxicroak seems like it's just redundant-ish to me. I love Raikou. I think Raikou is great. I feel like if he was planning to get Raikou, his first pick actually really should have been Metagross, because I thought that was like an amazing combo. And you know, I used Spectrier Metagross last time, and like to very good effect. And Spectrier and Metagross were both like amongst the top usage mons in the whatever grand playoffs. So like
Yeah, it was the
yeah,
it was the Metagross tour.
yeah, and Spectre. There was 3 Spectres too, and there was 4 Metagross, I think.
Or Metagross.
Yeah. So like, I feel like budget that is Raikou Metagross, and I feel like that would have been so strong had he drafted Metagross first instead of Incineroar. But that's me just talking about not this team. I feel like Pelipper and Rain Mode actually shows a little bit of anti-synergy with a bunch of its mons. So like Pelipper and Incineroar and Pelipper and Rhyperior, if you get them in at the wrong spot, you're really putting some of your biggest sweepers in like the line of fire essentially.
That's true.
So there's a little bit of anti-synergy there. I do like the team a lot. I think like Lurantis is like a decent pick, especially like if you're going in Trick Room. I love Contrary as an ability, but it's kind of hard to use Lurantis properly, and if you can do it, it's very good, but if you can't, it feels like a wasted slot. So hopefully the Heartland Homesteaders can. And I like Seismitoad a lot, since it only has one weakness in grass, and mons with like one weakness, or especially grass, which is not like a super, like you wouldn't be, well I guess in this particular team, since you're prepping for Rhyperior also, like you have 2 4x grass weaknesses, so it's a little, like you're probably going to bring grass coverage move, right? So it's a, because I used Swampert last time and didn't have, like, a lot of my other mons were not weak to grass, so like it was very hard for people to bring grass mons against my team, and then when they didn't, Swampert did really well. But it's not as easy here. So
Yeah.
I personally think it's middle of the road. I might actually rate it as our first C, but I can be persuaded to move it to B.
It's
I
kind
think
of
it does
where
have
I.
everything.
I mean, it definitely this could end up being one of those teams that you rank low in power rankings and ends up like a playoff.
I feel like any of the teams in our division could be that though. Like there are so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no bad team in this division, which is
Yeah.
which is testament to all 16 of us.
I don't love Pelipper as my only tailwind option. It just so it feels like it wants weather to actually go fast first, and I feel like that's a strategy that you can take advantage of. Actually.
Yeah, my gut instinct on this was actually once again a B plus. Like you obviously mentioned the anti-synergy with Incineroar, which is true, but in VGC it still gets a lot of use on Kyogre teams. So like it can definitely function in the rain. But obviously, you don't want to power up water type attacks for Rhyperior. I would probably be comfortable placing this middle of the road at the moment.
Honestly, if this team had Kyogre, then I'd be fine with Incineroar on it. But it doesn't have like a mon like Kyogre, which like you're trying really hard to like deal with Kyogre that Incineroar can work because like it doesn't really take grass and lightning attacks. Like it can soak those up. So in this particular squad, there's no real water resist. So
that's true.
You can just blow it up with water moves.
Outside of dry skin, Toxicroak, but yeah. Fair.
Drop it in.
Maybe if my mouse works.
No.
I don't know what's happening. Oh, there we go. It just loaded. Got put in D. Okay. All right. So that's good. Yeah, and once again, there are no bad drafts. So even if I am like, it sounds like I'm talking shit about a draft, I am not. They're very good. All right. Who is next?
That would be the Bastodons. California Bastodons. CB. Obviously, they have Metagross, which it's always a threat.
Yep.
I really like some of their lower tier picks too, though. I mean, like, Deloigne's great. Ditto could end up being good. Thwacky is amazing. And they could even go something like Aerodactyl, Max Aerodactyl, and like Sandrush. What's that thing called? Lycanroc. Yeah. So I think that there's some sneaky good stuff here. I don't really know how the Comfy fits. I mean, usually you're using Comfy for like a weakness policy, and I just don't see it. Where you're getting that, I mean, maybe like weakness policy hitting on top, which, hey, crazy things have been done. But that's the one mon on here that I'm like, yeah, I don't see the synergy. It's also a lot of partial cores too, right? You got Fire Grass, no water. You've got Steel Fairy, no dragon. You've got ground, flying. No, there's no ground. Charjabug, a lightning type? I don't even know. Charjabug could be cool.
I think it's like thinkable, right? I don't know if it's got the lightning type, but I like it.
I don't remember its stats actually. Let me take a look.
It's pretty bulky. But the thing is, with this team, I feel like so many mons want Eviolite. Like, it just feels like who gets it, right?
Yeah.
Charlie wants it, Blackie wants it, Purloin wants it. Who gets the Eviolite?
Yeah.
Yeah, my impressions were he drafted the Hitmontop, and you can sucker punch your own Metagross, you could sucker punch your own Chandelure, you could sucker punch your own Slowking, and you've got 3 weakness policy procs that are pretty good. You have the Prankster copycat stuff with Purloin and either Slowking or Chandelure. I'm not a fan of Ditto in Draft League. I can understand why it would look appealing, and especially if this was a Series 10 Draft League, like being able to turn into another restricted would be really good. But I feel like there's an element of control taken out of your hands when you run Ditto. Like yes, you obviously switch into the spot you wanted to transform into, but but especially in a draft league, like I feel like it's a little tough to utilize. I'm also not in love with Charger Bug. Like I can understand like the stats. I can understand the battery ability. Like Chandelure and Slowking, I think are going to enjoy it. But I also feel like more of this team's hitters lean physical over special, so I don't know how much use Charger Bug is going to get out of them. In regards to Comfey, I think it's a little out of place now, but I feel like it could easily be in place after week 4. Like there are probably some mons that this team might be able to pick up to better utilize Comfey, and if they can't do that, then Comfey itself maybe can be swapped. It does have there are 3 Trick Room mons on this team, so I guess one of them could be cut.
Right. So there's 3 Trick Room centers. Comfey, on this particular team, feels like a heal bot, just like, oh, I'm gonna heal things.
Yeah.
So, and Metagross is already hard to take down. It's very hard to take down. So just being able to heal back Metagross up would be very annoying, especially if I'm playing against this team. That would be so annoying. So I can see where even in a spot where Comfey doesn't really have that much synergy, that it can still do stuff, right? And I feel like this team is propped up by the fact that it has Metagross on it. It's like every other pick feels like it could be something else and might be better.
I do like the Aerodactyl synergy with the Metagross because it does get bulldozed and it's pretty fast.
That's true.
And it gets Tailwind. But yeah, and there's also a lot of common weaknesses, right? I mean, a lot of rock and ground weaknesses. I mean, Aerodactyl is rock. Chandelure is weak to rock. Then you've got your ground weaknesses. I mean, Chandelure, Metagross. Also shared weakness between your top 2 picks of Dark type, Ghost type. So yeah, Lycanroc is weak to ground. Slowking weak to ground. So
there's a bunch of I feel like if it wasn't for Metagross, I think I'd rate this team a lot lower than it is. But I mean, Hitmontop and Chandelure is like a decent combo in general. I think it's like a good lead a lot of the times. I've had to face it in different draft leagues, and there's always something that it can do. Whether it's set a Trick Room or somewhat protect Chandelure in max and stuff like that. And then Arrow and Metagross is obviously a pretty good lead as well. So those 2 leads are pretty good. I like Purloin. I like that it does some stuff. I don't think particular team, it's as good. It really wants a bulkier Trick Room setter that actually likes maxing, and I don't think Slowking or Galarian Slowking is that, and Chandelure is not bulky, right? So, and then Chandelure is probably not even the greatest in Trick Room, though it can work in Trick Room as well.
Yeah.
So there's some really good things here, and he did snipe Lycanroc for me, which is somewhat annoying, but I would really lean towards like our first C ranking. I feel like it's C with the caveat that Metagross is awesome and can carry a team.
And I agree.
Yeah, I think this is a C team as well, with the caveat that if he makes the right moves during after week 4, this team can turn into a complete monster.
Yeah.
I also think he has enough to get him through the first 4 weeks. So this team, even though we're ranking at C now, I still could realistically win the Alola division. So, after 4 weeks, if the right moves are made, and Metagross keeps him afloat, this could be really difficult to deal with going down the line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like with just a couple of like switches, this team could be very good. I feel like he didn't need to draft as many like not evolved Pokemon as he did, and I feel like if you just upgrade those to a little bit and add a little bit more bulk behind Metagross, or even just a little bit more like attack power behind Metagross, that team could be very good.
Next is Swampert.
Yeah.
Poppy's team.
DSS, there it is.
I like Poppy's team.
That's my favorite team in the draft.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good team.
Yeah. I mean, Togekiss is great in draft, right? I mean, it can be support with Follow Me, Yawn. Does it get Heal Pulse? I feel like it does.
I don't think it does. Let me double check that. But yeah, it was my first pick in Hyrule Draft League this year, but I don't remember using Heal Pulse on it.
Yeah.
Nah, no Heal Pulse.
Okay. Thought it did, but
it does get
even still.
What's the other one? Not Heal Pulse.
Healing Wish.
Life Dew.
Oh yes, it does.
There we go. I knew it had some sort of cleric move, but so I mean, Togekiss is great. It synergizes well with Blastoise, I feel, except for the shared lightning weakness. But
yeah, Togedemaru is a lightning rod user as well.
There you go. Yeah. Then Latios I feel like is one of those sneaky good mons in draft. I mean, you can use it in a lot of different ways. I just see a lot of flexibility here with like those first 3 picks. And then I mean, it's supported well. I think that the Fire, Water, Grass is decent with Serena, Magmortar, and the Blastoise.
Might be the best one we have, honestly.
Yeah. The Steel Fairy Dragon's pretty good too, with the Togedemaru and the Togekiss and the Latios. So, I like this team. I think it's one of my favorite teams. Maybe some of the lower tier picks are not my favorite, but they all could come. That's the thing. You have to prepare for every mon on this team. So.
I actually really like all its lower tier picks. Part of it is because I helped him draft, but I like basically every pick he made, with the exception of maybe R.EX, but he needed the ground type and the Trick Room setter. Other than that, like every mon on this team. Like Buffon has Sap Sipper, you can switch that into a grass move for Blastoise.
Buffon get Intimidate?
No.
No.
No. But yeah, I mean, I guess he doesn't have a Defiant Mon. That might be like a weakness, but I don't feel like he absolutely
Other team is
needs it.
special.
Yeah. He's got a pretty good balance between physical special. I used Lycanroc Midnight a lot last season, and I think Lycanroc Midnight is very, very good in draft. Just because I know I'm never going to miss a Stone Edge, and that peace of mind is just
Definitely worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Like, just knowing that I'm never going to miss a Stone Edge, I just feel like, all right, I'm just clicking the button. I never feel comfortable clicking that button before, but I feel pretty comfortable now. It's a good Scarf user. So is Buzzwole. Buzzwole's a really good Scarf user. Also destroys Urshifu Dark. You gotta keep it away from those airstreams, but I feel like with Togekiss protecting like almost any mon here, any mon can be like a threat to Max because Togekiss exists, and obviously Togekiss is a threat to Max as well. So
yeah, Togekiss's versatility is fantastic. It along with Dragapult and in EDF were like the top of my board going in. I would have been very happy to get any of those three. The thing that stands out to me with this team is that in the first 6 rounds, he was able to complete his Fire, Water, Grass, and Fantasy cores without reaching for a Mon. Like, every one of these picks made sense. And like something like Serena too, you're not going to be if you've got that, you don't need to worry about Prankster Jank.
yeah,
Like that is so underrated. And like Persian's a great support mon. I get the Runigus. Bouffalant is good in the D tier, but Buzzwole's pretty good fighting type. And I don't have much experience with Lycanroc Midnight, but I will definitely take your experiences with that. And honestly, this is probably the best team we have so far.
I agree.
honestly feel like it might be the best team in our division, personally. It's just so,
Yeah.
like, it feels like so complete. I think I looked at the type chart, or like the weakness chart, and I think there's only like one weakness, or so it was very like it was just very good.
All rounded, yeah.
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 And like having Quash from Persian is going to be so underrated. And it's not even Prankster Quash, which Prankster Quash technically it is better, but like now I can Quash the Dark type just fine. And like its speed tier is pretty good. Fur Coat is a really good ability. I mean, I think Persian's it can Snarl, it can Parting Shot. It just has a lot of like debuffs that this team like could really use, and it's already bulky as it is, right? Every mon on this team has like a decent amount of bulk. So, and it just like protects each other. I mean, there's not much I can say. Like, I wish I had drafted Poppy's team, even though I helped Poppy's team, you know?
I know the feeling. Well, let's just throw it up in S tier now then.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And the logo's cool.
Yeah.
Who's
Right.
next?
Next we've got the Jersey Venusaurs. Kaz Labs team.
Alright.
JES.
Yeah. So what stands out to me with this? The first pick of the draft for him was in EDF, which if you look at how this league tiered redirection, I think is a very fine pick. There is a Fire, Water, Grass core. There is a Fantasy core. I do feel like it might be a little forced, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's Tailwind with Suicune. You've got Trick Room with Aromatisse, which can also be taunted, which is great. You have the Hail combo with the Arctivish and Aurorus. You have terrain control with NDD, which is good. I'm not seeing the best way to like potentially proc some sort of weakness policy. My gut feeling looking at this team is that there's no like easy cut to make, but I also feel like something might be missing. But like if he even got like Alakazam to do a Psy spam core, I feel like that would be a little better than what this is. It's still pretty solid though.
Like, it feels solid, but it also, like, when you look at it, you're just not afraid of any one mon. Like, you're just not afraid of them. It just feels like it doesn't hit hard enough. Like, everything is very good, but like it needs something to like push it through to like beat other teams, especially like bulkier teams, which is the problem. And I think you're right that everything is there, but it's all kind of forced. It all kind of feels like a patchwork as opposed to like things that, and you know, you can have a patchwork and have it like have mons that like hit really hard or like super bulky or both, and it just feels like they hit the bulky part for the most part, but they didn't hit the damage dealing part, I think. But the coolest thing about this team is definitely that logo. That's awesome.
Yeah, you just don't know who you max here. You know, I mean, like, are you maxing Hawlucha? Are you maxing Landorus? Are you maxing Suicune? I mean, are you maxing Arctovish? Are you maxing Lucario? And I don't know who gets beat up on the team. Does Hawlucha get beat up?
No, there's no beat up user on the team.
No beat up.
Yeah, so I think Lucario's just like out of place, to be honest. I see it get you the steel type, but I don't see its value. And to be honest, anytime I've faced a Lucario, I'm not afraid of it at all. You know, Hawlucha, like, I've tried using Hawlucha before, and it's too frail for me. But
it also just doesn't hit hard enough. It's fast, but
exactly.
It doesn't hit hard enough. It's like it's just so close to being like what you want it to do, and then it just slightly disappoints.
The one thing this team does have going for it, granted it was Series 5, it was a year ago, but in WBE, A-Drive made Turtonator the kill leader of that league.
Yeah.
So if he's able to proc a weakness policy on Turtonator, that thing can go ham.
Yeah, but where's its bulldoze user? Where's its like?
Yeah, like what does Aromatisse get to set up?
Yeah, sadly, I think the bulldoze user.
Team, right? There's no Bronzong on this team. There's no there's no Togekiss that really helps. Turtonator,
you might need Landorus Suicune to do it.
Right, exactly. But like the thing is, like Landorus, you don't really want this version of Landorus to max because it loses sheer force, and it's actually like losing damage when it maxes. Like, and then Suicune is great, right? I love Suicune. Like, it's inner focus. It's bulky enough that it almost never dies, so you can almost always get Tailwind up. It has like pretty good support moves. You can be offensive, so it's very solid. But once again, doesn't hit hard enough. Which is that's like the only issue with this team. It's like right there, but like everything just misses the mark by a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I say C.
A lot of rock weakness too. If you look, I mean, Aurorus, Arctovish, the Turtonator.
Anytime you get like an ice core, a hail core, your team probably needs to rock.
Yeah. I personally lean B with this team. Like, I feel like it does need the week 4, but I feel like there maybe is enough there to get him through these 4 weeks. But if you guys want to put him in C, I'm not opposed. But I just feel like it's more so B than C.
I think I still lean C, just because
Yeah.
really hits as hard with like next to Indeedee that Indeedee's protecting.
Yeah, I mean, you basically have to Swords Dance. Or like, I don't know, maybe Guts Luxray. But yeah, I think that there are some synergies here that are lacking. Um, I could go either way, B or C. It's going to be the top of the C or the bottom of the B. I mean, maybe just put it there at the top of the C.
Yes, maybe. But let's be clear.
Yeah.
So I think we're moving pretty fast. We've got through 17.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's your turn, Ryder.
It is my turn. Okay, I'll start. So at the 8th pick, I was like, Dragapult fell to me, and I was like, oh, that's like such a good value. Because Dragapult, I might have picked that as like a top 3 pick. And then I started looking at the tier list and looking where Dragapult's partners were, and it just felt like all of Dragapult's partners. And I think Pedons did like a really good job later, and maybe I was like, okay. But it felt like all Dragapult's partners were all S, like the best partners for Dragapult.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I was like, do I want to spend 100 points? Or do I, want to go kind of crazy and have a no S tier draft? Because, I mean, this is my 3rd season of UGA. I don't feel like I have anything left to prove. I've gotten this pretty far. And I was just like, let's have some fun. So instead of like going with Dragapult, I went with Tyranitar. And then I paired Tyranitar with nothing that goes well with Tyranitar. So I knew that was like, I knew that was going to be like sort of the case. I really, really, really wanted Gorgeist. Had Gorgeist, and then I used my mulligan, which I shouldn't have done, because T-Tarp Gorgeist is pretty awesome. And then I lost Gorgeist, which was dumb, and I didn't like it. But then I decided, because last season I put together a draft where really I only had like a couple of really good max options. Like I could max Spectrier, or I could max Metagross, or there were some occasions where I would max Swampert. But other than that, it was basically all Spectrier Metagross. So I wanted to put a draft where I could max almost everything, and then I did. So that is like what the team is. It has a Fire, Water, Grass core. It's got your cores, and every one of them can max at any point. So that was, and they're all bulky. I don't have a single mon with less than 500 base stat total, except for Durant, which is 480 something, and it has the ability that gives it 50% more attack, which
Hustle.
Yeah. So yeah, it has Hustle, which basically makes it another 500 plus mon. So every mon can take a hit. So I wanted to set it up so that I could have like pretty good switch-ins on almost any attack and keep my opponent guessing, as well as giving myself a whole good Tailwind option, some good Trick Room options, competitive, and just overall bulk in general. So that's, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, just looking at your team, I mean, like you said, any of these mons could max pretty much. I mean, you've got about 5, 6 max targets, 7.
There's more than that. There should be 8.
Okay, yeah, I was just counting in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think
5,
everything except
6,
Mienshao
7,
can max.
8. Yeah. Or I mean, yeah, I guess you could max Volcarona. I don't look at Volcarona as a max target, but I think that it works better outside of max. But you could, pair it with Leafeon. I mean, that could be fun. Durant, I don't know. I don't love Durant. I feel like Durant really needs like a follow me user over like Rage Powder. But that's just me. Durant's also could sweep a whole team. So if you clear your fire types with Tyranitar and Crocodile before bringing out Rant and Volcarona. So yeah, I like the team. I think it's balanced. There's not a whole lot of like weaknesses that like really stand out to me. Maybe some fighting weaknesses, but yeah, I think you have a lot of counters to that too. And also Galarian Articuno is awesome because it can Tailwind or Trick Room or just Max and go to town. So
Yep. Yeah.
pretty solid all around team.
With obviously once you passed on Dragapult, which I thank you for, by the way, you kind of had the intent of an OS tier draft, and this basically shows how you don't need an S tier to do well in something like this. Like you put together, I think, a very good draft. Like obviously you got the cores. We talked about the Tailwind, the Trick Room. I honestly I'm not that used to Mind Show being somewhat bulky because I know this thing drops in 2 hits every time in Series 10, but yeah, you have a lot of ways to get your mons fast. You have a lot of ways to go slow. You have decent ways to proc policy. You got the redirection, but the redirection can also max because it's a very good mon. Like even something like Dusknoir and Regice, and you throw a Rock Tomb at it, like it's pretty good. And Tyranitar, while maybe it's not the best synergy with the rest of the team, you could still run it on Nerve. It's still a strong mon. It on its own, like you could have to stand up to protect itself, and there's a reason that the Tyranitar has done so well in VGC in the past, and why it's kind of a monster in Draft Elite too. Like it's a good mon, and you have a really good team, I think.
Yeah, so like my main strategy is like bulk through everything, like that's it, and then do damage while doing it. That's the strategy here, and I think like I also, this is something that I tried to do like before the draft. I went through like the entire tier list and I said, what mons do I think are under tiered? And then I went and I picked up every mon that I thought was under tiered. I thought Tyranitar should have been S tier. I thought Crocodile should have been A tier. I thought Primarina should have been S tier. I thought Dusknoir should have been B. I feel like it's so good. It's like one of the most underrated mons in draft, I think, because it can do so much. I thought Regice is like the only Reggie that's not in like A or S.
That's right.
And I was like, well, that's it's got like it's super bulky. I can like coaching and like make it even bulkier on the physical side. A lot of my mons really like having coaching, and then inner focus coaching is really good. And then Mienshao was C tier, so I was like, that seems low. The Rant C tier, that seems low. I feel like Leafeon probably belongs in D, but everything else, like even Tyrantrum, I thought should have been like a C tier mon. And Tyrantrum really benefits because it's got a low special defense. It really benefits from having Tyranitar there. So running like AV Tyrantrum with
Sand, it's hard to kill.
It makes it difficult to kill on both sides. Especially and then a lot of teams like end up being rock weak in drafts. Like it just happens that way. So and there's nothing wrong with that. There's very few mons that can take advantage of it. I just happen to have like 2 of them. Crocodile can do multiple things. They can snowball with Moxie. They can do intimidate stuff. And then it just feels. See, I never worried about redirection with Durant because most fire mons that are going to beat Durant are going to use Heat Wave anyway. Like that's how I always like played it. So I just felt like so now I have have a really good switch-in Tyranitar once I see that a fire move is coming. So it's just like, I wanted to have switch-ins for everything. Leafeon is kind of a throw-in, but there's like some interesting things that I want to do with Leafeon, especially against Sun teams. So
That's like a 130 attack and 95 defense, right?
yeah, no, yeah, it's I mean, it's still, you know, it's still one of the evolutions, which has like 525 base stats and like is generally good. I can still use it with like baby doll eyes and stuff. So if I know that I'm gonna run into a team that has, you know, Defiant or something like that, I still have a way to nerf attack, and I can run Crocodile with Moxie instead, or yeah, so like I don't have to proc Defiant and still be able to bring Crook, and still be able to lower stats as well. So had, and in another baby doll eyes user in Primarina, which I really think Primarina should have been S tier. I don't know how it got A.
I agree.
I was like, okay, I'll take 2 S tiers.
Yeah, slight spoiler. When I picked Gothitelle, my debate was, do I go Gothitelle or Primarina? I was seriously considering Primarina as well. That thing is very good.
Yeah, and Volcarona is another mon that I thought should have been S, and it wasn't. You know, like, so take it as an A tier.
Yep. Yeah. So S tier for this
as far
one.
as like ranking goes, I was thinking A, but you know, I could be persuaded to S.
I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. So
Let's just drop you an A for now, and then see how things finish up.
Yeah.
I'd say top of the A.
But yeah, this team, if nothing else, proves you don't need an S tier to do well in one of these drafts. I really like the team.
I feel like the team requires decent piloting though, so I'm hoping that I can do that. Like, because it's not like, you know, something that you see all the time in PvC. Like, it's literally you have to play your position, and eventually your opponent will run out of steam, and then you win. That's like how the team plays. So it requires good piloting, and fingers crossed I can pilot it. Alright, and then we have,
Next is Pedons.
and
All right.
is what? Yeah.
All right. So I ended up doing about a 45-minute video on this, but
I think we both watched.
yeah, I'll give the Cliff Notes version, I guess. I feel like Dragapult is even with how UGA did S tiers. I still feel like it's incredible value because you can run it physically, specially, or support, and it has a 142 base speed, so almost nothing is outspeeding it naturally. Gothitelle, I think, is one of the best Trick Room setters because Shadow Tag is a broken ability. You get Fake Out as well, and you basically shut down half of your opponent's options. So you can choose something to pick off. With the Virizion, it's the biggest value for the Dragapult beat up combo. Tapu Koko is something that gives me terrain control. It gives me fast electro webs. It gives me physical, special, and support moves, and is fairy and an electric stab. Togepi is the best value follow me user, the only one I could afford. Politoed helps some of the cores. It gives me ability to use Thunder on Coco if I want, and gives me Gothitelle and Perish Trap, which is great. Diggersby is just a complete monster. Normal ground stab and some other coverage with the huge power. That thing's going to take a lot of kills. Torracat is basically Incineroar but faster and a little less bulky. Coughing, I feel, is a beautiful trump card. If I don't like abilities, I can shut that thing down. Aggron is for the purposes of D tier, I feel an appropriate substitute for Stack Attacker. It also let me complete the fantasy core I was looking for, but I think I can do some stuff with it in Trick Room. And Gaily, I am able to proc a few policies and also also use some other moves like supportive. And with 80 across the board, I can run it physically or specially. I ended up getting redirection, fantasy, and fire, water, grass. And I got some good redirection. I have a good Trick Room on. I don't have Tailwind, so I'm a little disappointed with that. But yeah, I basically covered this a lot more in like 45 minutes. If any of you guys want to watch, now you guys get your say on my team.
Yeah, no, you guys watch the video. Like, he covers his team pretty well. So if you're listening to this, go find his video and watch it. So
Yeah.
I watched your video.
Plug your YouTube, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's a PDONS, PD0NZ. Just look it up and you get it from there. That'll also be my Twitch. I plan on streaming my matches on Twitch, twitch.tv/PDONS, PD0NZ.
Yeah, go check him out, guys. Okay, so you got Dragapult, which is very good, especially at number 9. You're very thankful that I didn't take Dragapult, and I'm very thankful that you did not take Primarina, because that would have made me very sad. So yeah, no, I think the team is really good. I actually really like Tapu Koko here, and I like Tapu Koko in draft. I kind of wish you had picked up Thievul instead of Glalie. Personally, I think that would have been so good on your team. And I think that a whole bunch of Mons kind of want to use Eviolite on this team, which there's 3 of them, so it always becomes like, ooh, which one? Situation, which, you know, I feel like you can pilot that with like good, you know, prep. So
Yeah.
That's good. But like, you'll know, like, those 3. If 2 of them come, one of them has Scarf. I mean, not Scarf. Focus Sash. One of them has Eviolite, and it's just figuring out which is which. So I feel like the Fire, Water, Grass is okay, and your fantasy core is really good. I think Aggron should not have been a D tier. I think it should have been a C tier. I don't know if any of you know Otto. He plays in a whole bunch of draft leagues as well. He's in Johto this time in UGA, and he is like someone I look up to in draft. And he loves Aggron. He drafted Aggron too, and he thought it was underrated in D, and I agree. So that's just like a solid pick. Politoed, I do feel like it does help some of these like Mons, but it also sort of like, it helps Virizion, but it hurts Virizion and makes accurate hurricanes happen. So like, instead of, like, let's say I have Volcarona, like, let's say I am going up against Virizion, right? Instead of clicking my fire move, I just click hurricane, and the 4x we get to flying. It's like Virizion goes away. So it helps Virizion a lot, but it also kind of doesn't in some ways. I feel like if you did have like some really good, maybe even Beartick instead of Glalie, or instead of Coffin, like Beartick could have been really good here too, as a mon that can take advantage of the weather. This coming from a person who also didn't draft like any mons that really take advantage of his weather. So take that with what you will. I really like the team overall. Your first 2 picks, I was like, oh man, it's going to be really dark week. And then basically every other pick after that was like, nope. So I think
the only things I would kind of add to what's already been said. Coughing, while it's definitely fun, I don't love it on your team just because like a lot of your mons do rely on their ability. Like Diggersby is nothing without huge power. Virizion like really wants the Justified unless like you go weakness policy Virizion. I mean Dragapult sure, but like what synergy are you really bringing with Dragapult and Coughing? I think Glalie was an awesome pickup, and then I don't want to beat a dead horse, but yeah, the Politoed. I mean, I think that it adds like a nice Perish Trap dimension to your team. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot of things that like you're going to have to prep for, or else like if you bring it and it's not prepped for, then you're just going to get steamrolled. So yeah, I think all in all, like definitely a balanced team. You definitely sniped me a couple times, like with the Virizion pick, with the Dragapult pick. Granted, you were a few picks away from me, so and then I helped you make your decision as far as Moltres and Torracat, because I sat on that one for a little while. I went with the Moltres for the offense. You went to Torracat for the defense. So I like it. I think there's a good mix of offense, defense, and flexibility, as well as like support. So and having a redirector, even if it is Togepi, it's just so valuable in draft.
Yeah, I also really like Togepi as like a trick room counter. I don't know if people play
True.
using it that way, but it's a decent after user because it's so slow. So you can make things like Dragapult still effective in trick room. I really like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was thinking A tier for P-Dones too, but I can be convinced to move them up to S. And I kind of view both of your teams kind of the same way, very well balanced, hard to prep for, no obvious weaknesses, kind of SA border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right next to mine.
Yeah, I'm my own harshest critic, so I see a good team, but I also see flaws. So I'm not gonna put it S because like I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to put myself S, but I think it's a good team, and if I play well, I can do some damage with it.
Sure, for sure.
Those are either or,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess. Okay.
Next is the Pat Max team, the Sandslash SF.
Another Patrick. Celesteela Garchomp is a fantastic pairing.
Oh my god, yeah, this team is also another one of my favorites.
And then he follows it up with the Mon that was my co-kill leader in High Roller Draft League, Milotic. I think that's a monster.
Yeah, and good Intimidate counter if they're trying to bring Intimidate for the Garchomp. I mean, Garchomp is definitely like, I don't know why it ended up in A tier, but it did. Celesteela is another one of those Mons. I think Celesteela like led all of UGA in kills last season. And then he's got the nice fantasy core with the G-Max Hatterene, which I think when I first looked at this team, I was like, man, that Hatterene's out of place. But then when I was like thinking about it, well, like it's kind of the perfect, if you try to bring Trick Room against him, well, he's just gonna bring out Hatterene. It's at 29 speed tier, which is nice to be below that 30. It's G-Max. Confusion is just kind of it can end up just like totally changing the game. So, and then the lower tier support. I mean, Pikachu, I feel like is kind of a meme pick, but maybe he does something cool with it.
They would protect like Celesteela and Milotic
Milotic.
and Crobat. But honestly, that's the problem with some of these. You bring it and it's there to protect one thing. It's not even like it's Raichu, right, that has like this awesome speed tier. You bring it and then you kind of just feel like if they get around it, you're playing 4 versus 3.
Yeah.
Or 3 versus 4 in that case. So I hope you can put it to better use. I had her on my team. I used it once. It was like the only game I lost. And I was like, oh, probably not bringing Pikachu
Yeah,
Um,
the thing is though, Pikachu doesn't even need to be run protectively. Like, if you like lead Crobat Pikachu, you get a inner focus Tailwind off of base 130 power, and then you G Max with like a Light Ball or something, and now you're just killing things and paralyzing things. Yeah, it's frail, but are you gonna be able to take that hit? I mean, it doesn't have to just be a Lightning Rod user here.
Yeah, I know, but it also doesn't do very well against any ground.
but yeah, I mean, I think that it's a good team. It's a really good team. It could do well in Tailwind. I mean, it's got one of the better Tailwind setters. It's got Gourgeist to set Trick Room, or it's got they can just go Focus Sash Hatterene. I think the team would rather play in Tailwind, but like, I mean, it could say, what, screw speed control, I'm just out bulking you, and with Celesteela and Garchomp and Milotic, it can. So
I feel like it's very, very good. I feel like Gourgeist would have been better on my team, but it does pretty good on this team as well. I mean, Gourgeist is just a pretty underrated mon in general.
yeah.
And I think it's really good. I feel like Silvally is also underrated.
Yes.
Like a whole bunch of things.
Especially in draft.
And can be any type, so whatever type it's missing, Silvally's got its back. Phalanx, I know it's defiant, and I like it in that terms, but I really just don't see it as like a valuable pick.
Yeah, I feel like even in the D tier, that there's probably something better than Phalanx.
There are better picks, and it's
Yeah.
Scorch doesn't feel like the greatest fire pick in his fire water grass core. I feel like his fire water grass core actually it isn't like
It's not.
they're not going
there.
to use it that way. They're not going to use it in a way that will like help all three of them. So because none of them like can do like that much damage on their own except for Scorch, which you have to worry about any rock type. But
I think I mean, it's a very good team, but it's very, very top heavy. I mean, I don't see Scorch coming much. I don't see Pikachu coming much. I don't see Phalanx coming much. I mean, Lopunny can do some things, and Silvally can be, just kind of a nuisance. But I think that most of the time you're kind of seeing like the top 6 like at the bottom of the screen there. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the best fantasy core we have. So I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the best fantasy core. I think it's like just a very, very solid team, and if you pilot it right, it's gonna be tough to play against. And I think Milotic helps Garchomp, and I don't feel like it helps much else. I guess it sort of helps Scorch, but that's it.
Yeah.
He's definitely able to break out the coil hypnosis stuff with Milotic as well, or even just go for blind hypnosis like I did. It's Milotic is a very versatile mon for what it looks like it could do. It like I as I was using it this season, I'm like, oh, it's anti-intimidate, and I can do some water type attacks. Actually, it put things to sleep and killed all my opponents. So do not underestimate that mon.
No, Milotic is fantastic. It was if I didn't get Primarina, I was aiming for Milotic because I thought it was a really good partner for Durant. It's like one of the best partners. I think it might be the best partner for Durant. As we saw with whose team was it that had the Milotic Durant that beat Wolf?
In WBE.
Yeah, no,
WBE.
not WBE. It was in the finals of
But it's
I think
been a while.
or somewhere
Yeah, I don't
else.
remember.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But but yeah, I think it's really, really strong. I feel like you are right. It's top heavy without and it does have two. It's a double S tier draft again, which forces you to be a little bit top heavy. In my opinion, that's why I chose not to go that route. And I agree that I don't think Hatterene, I don't think this is the greatest team for Hatterene. I feel like if he had redirection, it might actually be better for all of his top mons. And he doesn't. I feel like that's kind of stopping it from going like this team is
one of the top teams.
Yeah, the team to beat or something like that.
Yeah.
I would put it in A, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Bottom A or top of B.
Yeah.
With the experience I have with my Melodic, plus how good Celesteal and Garchomp are together, I feel like it should be A.
All right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm there with you. Garchomp, Celesteal is if you want a good a perfect synergy 2-mon combo, Garchomp, Celesteal is it. They really protect each other really, really well.
And next is the Rainbow Wings, Detroit Rainbow Wings.
Yep.
W.
I remember this person being a huge fan of Kangaskhan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So funny story. Actually, I'll save him the misery. But me just saying that he used Kangaskhan a lot last season. I think Kangaskhan was his kill leader. But he used it as a weakness policy proc for his Galarian Moltres, Ice Punch, and then in the pivotal match to clinch playoffs, froze his Moltres.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, it was so bad. We all felt so bad for him.
That's the risk you take.
Yeah. He's a great drafter though. I mean, last season he put together one of the scariest drafts. This season he put together one of the scariest drafts. I mean, I think just his top 3 picks with the Rillaboom, the Gmax Lapras, and the Heatran, just that's I would say easily our best Firewater Grass core.
That FWG core is godlike.
Yeah, it's as good as the fantasy core in the last team. This is the best.
Exactly.
Best
Some of the other picks, the lower picks, Archeops probably did not belong in the D tier, and it's a pretty awesome pick.
It also doesn't really belong on this team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe as a Tailwind setter, but you got Drifloon for that, so I don't know what else you would really do with it. And Absol, I don't know. I don't love Absol. And then the
Rhydon here.
Yeah, Rhydon.
You already have your Lightning Rod user. You didn't need Rhydon. Rhydon just doesn't feel like it does.
With Pincursion gets Lightning Rod, right?
It does.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like it just it works against the Jolteon Pincursion pairing in C.
Though it also enables Jolteon to run Discharge if you want it.
Yeah, but I feel like it's way better with Pincursion than it is with Rhydon.
Yeah,
That's true.
Rhydon wants to be physical. Now, granted, Rhydon paired with Lapras is, that works really well because you could have put Eviolite on it, have it be pretty bulky, and have Lightning Rod.
But once again, I think Pincursion does the same thing and kind of does it better. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I do agree that it's kind of it's a lot of repeat. They repeat the roles. Those two mods.
Yeah. I actually like the bottom 5. I think the bottom 5 come all the time. Kangaskhan, Drifloon, Heatran, Rillaboom, Lapras.
Yeah.
And then pick your other mod.
Yeah, pick your C tier.
Yeah, unless you want to go. Is that C?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's see.
Unless you want to, go C over something and go with a trick room mode.
Yeah.
Which this team's trick room mode is somewhat okay. I mean, Pincursion's really slow, right? But then everything else is just
Yeah, bulky mid tier speed.
Yeah, but which is actually fine, right? Because you know you can go Trick Room if they go Tailwind, you can go fast if they go slow. So that's fine.
Yeah,
Doable.
this team actually reminds me a little bit of a Wolf's WBE team that he won the league with. The Rillaboom and the Drifloon.
Yeah.
Wolf had Jolteon as well.
Right.
There's an upgrade with the Watermon with Lapras, and when we were in WBE, Steph of Anime was trying to trade Rhydon to Wolf for something else that would have helped us finish out the season. That trade ultimately didn't happen, but Wolf was also interested in Rhydon for his team. So I ultimately see something similar here. And if this team turns out the way Wolf's did, look out for this team.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's something that's like really good to point out. It is a lot like Wolf's team. UGA serving as like the Musharna substitute, which is fine. And then there's Jolteon and Drifloon and Rillaboom, and then some upgrades at Fire and Water and Steel. My problem with this team, and the reason why I'm not as high on it, even though it is a lot like Wolf's team, is that there was a lot of mons that weren't introduced into the meta at that point, and it's just different now. Like the power creep and like with all of the introductions since the expansions is just crazy. That like it means that like Jolteon that used to be like I thought really underrated, really good, feels a little less good, right? So does basically everything. Rillaboom, Lapras was king at that time.
Yeah.
It's not anymore for a reason. It's just the power creep no longer like lets it. So I feel like this team is very strong, but could have an issue with that power creep. Like it's definitely stronger. I think we talked about another team that like had hit all the buttons, but then just didn't hit hard enough. I feel like this team does hit hard enough, but it's just a little bit lacking there as well. But it's really strong.
Yeah, I think it just kind of misses on like some support for some of these mons. You know what I mean? Like Lapras, like you would really like to have like someone that could proc a weakness policy, and like I don't see it. Like maybe Jolteon, but like maybe Rillaboom, but
hard.
like
Both of them hit.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could go like I don't know, Thunder Punch on your Kangaskhan and then paralyze your Lapras again. So you know,
or go Rock Tomb with Miss.
Yeah. So you know, I think that it's a good team. It could be one of those teams that's like, you know, it's definitely a playoff contending team, but I wouldn't say that it's like the team, team to beat.
Yeah. For what it's worth, if you play with the speeds a little bit, like you can get like you can get Lapras so like 91 speed, which is I think around like 84 to 100 EVs. I can't remember specifically. UGA can set Trick Room and then Giga Drain the Lapras.
Okay.
Yep. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely things you can do with this team. I think it's very, very, very solid and would be very scary to play. But on team alone, I'd probably say like high B, low A.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
I still think it's an A at minimum. Like
I'm cool with putting it at the end of A.
Yeah. Even with some of the flaws that have been pointed out, and they are legitimate flaws, there's still a lot you can do with this team.
No, I definitely.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's still a scary team. At the end of the day, it's a scary team.
Yeah. All right. Who is next?
Northern Middle Kings.
Yes, the team I was terrified of during draft.
Yeah.
You don't have to play that.
You know, when I first saw this team, I was like, oh god. As you look at it, there's a lot of like common weaknesses that like, you know, like there's so. Granted, you have 2 lightning rod mons, so like that definitely covers the big lightning weakness. But like, rock is a problem. Like, almost every mon is weak to rock.
This feels like the Tyranitar go to town game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's the one thing about this team. I mean, if you can play around that and like I don't know, I guess you could use like maybe
There are 6 mons weak to rock.
yeah.
That is nuts. That's
All-
like more
all-
than half
all
the
is-
team.
All of his threats, right? Like
Yeah.
Moltres, Gyarados, the Marowak,
The Noivern,
even the Noivern.
the
Arctozolt.
Arctozolt.
and
Bombasnow.
Bombasnow. Like all of them are weak to rock. It's just
Yeah.
so like there to bring rock coverage.
Yeah, and like Grapploct is it's not covering that, you know, and same with what's the grass thing's name again?
Sceptile.
Sceptile.
Sceptile, yeah.
It's not resistant to rock either. So like
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Like it's scary, and if you get this team piloted well, I mean, like if you can protect like the Gyarados, like cool. But I feel like you need like a Follow Me or a Rage Powder or something to get those rock hits away from Gyarados.
Yeah.
And like ice, right? It's a lot of ice weakness, and if you bring them on with Freeze Dry, like problem.
Yeah, I'd say at a minimum, I think I would have rather seen a Grapploct be the row. It's something in the same tier, but can actually do damage instead of like the throw is kind of bulky. Let me I'm just gonna double check Grapploct's stats, but I feel like the row probably would have been better. But at the same time, the 6 rock weaknesses, the 3 ice weaknesses. I mean, there's a point.
Yeah, I think that also like I would have rather seen like maybe Kanto Marowak instead of Alola Marowak here.
Yeah, actually, Grapploct is bulkier than I thought. Interesting.
Grapploct's not a terrible mon, but like it's not going to take down like all your rock threats.
Yes.
And then maybe like a different weather. I mean, it's so hard, right? But like,
well, yeah, different weather and on this particular team because you know of the rock weaknesses. Like
yeah,
if he got Hippowdon and you know something that might have worked.
Yeah.
I don't think Hippowdon was drafted.
yeah. But like
Go
it's
Sand.
there.
It was not.
Yeah, go Sand instead.
Yeah.
But Hippowdon was B. He might not have been able to afford it. I don't know.
Yeah. So like this team, like it could be if it's piloted well. I mean, it could be scary. It could be a monster. I mean, we all know how terrifying Galarian Moltres or like Gyarados could be in draft. You know how hard Alola Marowak can hit. You know how useful a Raichu is on a team like this. But there's just some glaring weaknesses that like this team just needs to make some adjustments to really kind of get over the hump.
Yeah, I will say something though in defense of the rock and ice weaknesses. Yes, they're there. Yes, Fake Out can stop this, but Bombasnow can Ice Shard Sceptile, proc weakness policy, proc Unburden, and Sceptile has a lot of coverage. Like it, I remember I was helping someone out in another league. The very first game, he brought Sceptile against Thundurus. The Thundurus Dynamax. We proc the policy, and Max Rockfall wiped out the Thundurus in one shot. So you could in theory do that to the ice types, and you do have the max overgrowth for the for the rock types. Like there is a glaring weakness there, but there is a way to answer it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this team, it would need to be piloted really well to like avoid that.
Yeah. I mean, with the appropriate switch in or sash, I feel like that's covered as well. But yeah, no, Sceptile is very deceptive in terms of how good it is. I actually think it's like really good, and it was definitely solidly in B. And I think that was properly put in because a lot of the times you can see Sceptile playing like C or D. I think in previous formats it was lower, but I think it's solid tier 1.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Kanto Rapidash, I guess, is like your Imprisoner. There's Galarian Rapidash.
Better too, and it can do some stuff. Galarian Rapidash can do some stuff. I've used it before in leagues. I think I used it next to Salazzle as Hypnosis Mon with what is Salazzle?
Sweet Scent. Oh man.
Like the move Sweet Scent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one saw it coming. Everyone went to so.
I also wouldn't underestimate like Oranguru next to the Galarian Moltres either, and just like instruct Fiery Wrath, just destroying things after it gets a Berserk and a Weakness Policy proc. So
yeah, but how are you gonna get that Berserk Weakness Policy proc next to? I feel like Moltres is the max. I think if you're gonna lead Moltres, you're maxing Moltres. So feels a little like
you basically lead Moltres, Raichu, and the Volt Switch out of there for the Oranguru and get the proc.
Yeah, but then you're maxed, right? And then you can't instruct the max one. So
yeah,
that's true.
Then you protect Trick Room and I don't know, take another KO, and then it's a lot of setup. All right. I mean, I'm cool with like putting this kind of C tier. I think that like we all said. I mean, there's a glaring weakness, but with some moves, it could become a really threatening team.
Yeah. The thing is with this team, I think it's better than the other two teams in C. I feel it's more of a B team.
Okay.
I can go
cool.
B.
Yeah.
I agree. But it is just super weak to Rock and Ice, so if you're the coach, just be careful. And know that it's coming, because you have more than half your team weak to it, so there's nothing you can do but bring at least one of them. So.
Next is the East Coast Umbreon. See you. I like
this
team.
is an interesting team, I think. Like, obviously, Urshifu is always busted. You also get Entei, which I know has been blowing up Series 10 of late with Scarf to stop Zacian in his tracks. But you kind of even scarf it in Draft League and run a Surprise Eruption. Plus, obviously, it does more. It does its normal physical stuff. You have a decent Tailwinder and Mandibuzz. I mean, he was able to pick up Landorus at some point. That's like really good. For all the reasons I described for Gothorita is also almost as good. And yeah, you have a way to proc a policy on Urshifu with Sylveon if you wanted to, but you don't necessarily need to do that. Sylveon hits well in of itself, and I mean, you have some good pieces here.
Yeah, I think he's got a decent fantasy core, although I don't know. I feel like Duraludon's always better in theory than it is in practice. You're kind of like forced to run the Assault Vest on it unless they don't really have special ground coverage, and then you're in good shape.
I feel like Duraludon in B though is value.
Oh, for sure.
Like season 1 champ Chulane, right? He drafted Duraludon because he thought it was like it's a very valuable pick in B tier. Like shouldn't be a B tier. It should be an A tier. And here it is in B, so it's like a solid But the only problem is like what he did with his lower tier picks is just, I feel like he could have made this team so good.
Yeah, like Reboot. I don't know.
Reboot
I think
doesn't do anything. Lantern, if you had someone that was like you could soak, Lantern would be great. But right now, Lantern doesn't do all that much on this team. Exploud is like okay.
Yeah.
Even like Decidueye is like I could pick a better grass on in C, you know.
I also think that you're kind of telegraphing who you're gonna max with this team. Like I feel like Duraludon's like really your best max target. Like the other mons,
Landorus and Entei, that's it.
yeah, and like Entei, I feel like Entei kind of doesn't really want to be in max so that it can like click extreme speed. Now, but I mean you can max it, and in draft is a place to do it. But yeah, you kind of you know there's a lot of mons that prefer to be not be maxed here. The Urshifu and the Sylveon and to an extent the Entei. But yeah, I think that it's a good team, but there's I don't know. Mystic also always like surprises me. Like last year I didn't like his draft and he like whooped my butt week 1. So Mystic is a creative player and he likes his bulky teams, and you can kind of see that with some of his picks.
Yeah, no, I think that it's definitely a bulky team. I really just wish it did more with its lower tier picks.
Yeah, I agree.
But like it felt like it could have gotten there. Yeah.
I would say the lower tier picks, as we mentioned, yeah, they could definitely be better. This obviously you have two S tiers here with the Urshifu and Landorus, so it's definitely a top heavy team. So it's probably going to be mostly the same 6 to 8 like each week. But obviously you can't bring 8, but like a pool of 8. But of those 8, there's a lot that Mystic can do with this team.
Yeah.
So whoever plays them, like me in week 4, has to be very careful.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's not really much else I want to say besides like maybe there's just some like Mamoswine would do well against this team, because the ground and ice kind of cover it well. But besides that, I would say I think that this is a solid B tier team, just on paper.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can definitely go with that.
I think it's probably here or here.
Yeah, I'd put it right there. Next is Manitoba Champions.
I'm just happy I have 2 weeks to prep for this team. I'll leave it at that.
I love Cam. Cam's a great player. He's I just always knock him out of the playoffs, but I think that he did a really great job with this team.
Oh yeah.
I think that first 2 picks with the Venusaur Torkoal, you're like, okay, I know where this is going. But I think the grabbing the Dracovish really kind of completed the Fire Water Grass core, but made it so hard that like, okay, well I'm gonna counter your Sun team with Rain. Well, good luck playing Dracovish in Rain, Or I'm gonna bring Sand. Well, now you've made Dracovish really fast. So, I think that it covers its weaknesses well. It's got the the Fire Water Grass, and it's got 2/3 of the Fantasy core. I think that Pheromosa's like an underrated mon as far as like, it's just so fast. You can do a lot with it.
Speed swap.
Yeah, you can speed swap. Go with your turbo Torkoal. But like even just like speed control, right? It gets like Icy Wind, it gets Electro Web. It's got fast coaching, you know, and it could go physical, it could go special. I don't really see any weaknesses. I mean, he did a great job with his D tier picks. You know, for a double S tier, no, did he go? No, he didn't go double
No.
S. But even still, like, he did a good job. You know, I mean, he can do some stuff with War Turtle. You know, the clutch in there. I guess it's just a Tailwind bot. And Impidimp is, you know, I mean, it's super light Grimmsnarl, I guess. I don't know what kind of support moves it gets, but I'm assuming it gets screens and.
Yeah, I think it's the same as Morgrim.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see Spirit Break from it, but I think mostly everything else.
Yeah.
And technically, he did complete the Fantasy Core, albeit one of them is with Impidimp. Then he got Dracovish
yeah,
Mega
that's
Slash.
right. That's right. Yep, he does.
Yep. I really wish this team had a ground on. Like, really wish this team had a ground on.
Yeah.
Primarily because I really like Heliolisk, and it's like one of the only two mons that gets Electrify, and put it next to a ground mon, and Heliolisk can just do things that make that ground mon basically immune to water moves or like anything really, and I feel like that could be really good here. So look to do that in week 4. I think that would be great for your team. Literally any like ground mod that can hit anything would be good here. I love Scrappy. I think Scrappy is great. 4x weak to fairies, not as good, but you know you have fairy resists on this team, so that's good too. I agree, Pheromosa is super underrated. And what tier was it? Was it B?
A.
I think it's A.
Oh, okay. Then
But, yeah, I think it belongs at A. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Me and Dracovish, I don't really love Dracovish, but that's just like a personal preference. I think it's a good mod.
Yeah. It could be tough to pilot this team. That's the only thing.
The
I
thing
mean,
is,
like,
what if they leave Sun up, right? And then you leave Sun up, and then you have Dracovish, and now you're like making your Dracovish weaker.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good in terms of it definitely protects itself or protects the Venu cold mode from getting weather change. But if weather doesn't change and they find a different way to beat Venusaur, then watch out because Dracovish isn't as useful in the sun. Even just like Scarf Wash from Persian or something like that would be very tough on this team.
True.
So.
I mean, I already know how I'll counter Cam, so you know I'm okay.
Yeah, I have my counter also, but
yeah,
I don't know if I play them, so
I do have a few ideas, but he does have counters to the counters, so team preview is going to be very significant for us week 1.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that this is an A tier team. I don't know if I'd put them up in S, but you know, definitely at the top of A.
I actually do think it's S. You have a few weaker on paper mons in D tier, but you've got Prankster there. You've got Tailwind. You have your cores covered. Like Dracovish doesn't necessarily need to be in like if it's in Sun. Well, I guess you could still go Dragon Rush. I guess Outrage is still a thing. I mean, it's
got like a
not optimal, but
attack stat too. Like that's the thing, right? Without Vicious Ren, Dracovish is actually just like, oh, I wish I had something else, man.
True.
So,
but yeah, you also have the speed swap stuff, Pheromosa, which can be run either way. I feel like this team. But even if he wanted to, he'd go pledges with Venusaur and War Turtle.
That's true.
Like there's
So, what maxes outside of Venusaur?
potentially Dracovish, potentially Aegislash.
Is not a great match. Like Pheromosa, maybe Aegislash is not a great max either, because like you don't don't get the King Shield ability anymore.
That's true.
Or a
Yeah.
King Shield thing.
Torkoal
Yeah.
can max as well.
Torkoal
Yeah.
max, and then I feel that's
Mish-
okay.
Misharna. I mean,
You know what? I think you guys have a point on the max. The Venusaur max is probably telegraphed. Because of that, I think it's more top of A than an S. Like if he had a very good secondary max target, I think I would still push S. But you guys do have a point with the max.
Yeah, I think it's actually behind both of our teams. I'm not gonna lie.
I would say that it matches up well. Like it's right there with you guys. So I would say like the top 3 teams in A. I mean, could make an argument for S on all of them.
Fair enough.
All right, last 2. Daytona Driftbloom.
We're almost there, guys.
Yep. What stands out with this team is I feel like there was a cheap but a reasonable Fire Water Grass. Like you have Jellicent, you have Maractus, which is getting a play in the Series 10, and Flareon was like it's an evolution, and if I didn't go a B tier fire, I was looking to pick up Flareon as my fire in that case. It's like that core can kind of hit well enough. Like Maractus, you could Storm Drain or Chlorophyll if you want. You've got the Sand core with the Gigalith and Stoutland. You have Intimidate protection with Bisharp. Butterfree is great in redirection, and of course, obviously the Thunderous, like the Defiant. Yeah, that's the second one, but also like Prankster, Thundy, like there are pieces here, and let's not forget Lele, which hits like a truck.
Honestly, this was one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
Like I think I said it in chat.
give you guys
I like this team.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a full disclosure. I tried so hard to pry Thunderous away from him. At the end of the draft, I was making all sorts of offers to get Thunderous, but he was smart to hold on to that mon because it's a phenomenal mon in draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Gigalith Stoutland is
Yeah,
something
that was
you gotta prep for.
Stoutland was a snipe. That was on my original draft plan.
Yeah.
And it has Surf too, right? So we can even
Yes.
rock Maractus as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Or even Flareon. I mean, that thing maxing is going to be difficult to deal with.
Also,
I mean, I think that this team it's well rounded. It's got I don't see this is how I would counter this team. I would have to sit down and really think about it. I think that just pairing Thunderous with a rock core like Gigalith Stoutland, it's just so good because usually when you're dealing with Thunderous, all right, well I gotta hit it with rock or ice. Well, Gigalith and Stoutland kind of counter that really well. So and then just a lot of good pieces around that.
Yeah, my impression, I ended up looking at these a bit last night and jotted down notes. One thing I wrote is I feel like this team is one cut away from a complete team. I can't put my finger on it specifically.
I think it's Doug
but
Trio, personally.
yeah, if Doug Trio went out for he's got Lele and a Selgor's available.
Or even Thievul. I love Thievul here. Thievul's a great mon on this
That's
team.
true. Yeah, you could even use Devil, and it gives you it gives you additional dark coverage with plus I guess Burning Jealousy and Fast Taunt.
Fast Taunt, Snarls,
Mhm.
just a little more debuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I couldn't really put my finger on what it was about this team. Nothing
Doesn't have a
jumps out to
dragon.
me. Yeah, nothing jumps out to me. Nothing but nothing. I don't know. It's just like it looks like it's like okay, this is a good team, but I'm not like terrified looking at it. But I think that's just because it's just well balanced and can hit you in a multitude of different ways. I think that it's just like you're kind of limited as far as your max options here as well. I mean, I guess you could do like max Jellicent or but most of the time it's just going to be Gigalith or Thundurus.
I don't know. I feel like it's Gigalith, Thundurus, Bisharp, Stoutland.
I feel like half this team can max actually.
Melee can max. Yeah, and then it
Hell,
has
hell.
G-Max Butterfree. Like you can max G-Max Butterfree there, and just hope the RNG gods are in your favor and you don't get all poisons. Like I mean,
True.
yeah. What if you put everything to sleep? Well, that would suck. So yeah, like I don't know. This is one of my favorite teams, and I like would put it in like S or like the very top of A. Like I think it's like just that good.
Let me double check the Dirty South team.
I like this. I like the Dirty South team better. Like that's. I'm not even gonna lie. But I think.
Yeah. Dirty South is better. I don't think this is F, but I feel it's very good.
Yeah. I mean, we have a glut at A.
Yeah. Oh, we can put them in S, like kind of like secondary
we
S
can,
tier.
Like we can move. Like.
You two up to S.
Or we can move if we think the champions, we can move that and then.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
I'm in
like
the same boat with the Drifloons. Like I think it's like right in that range, right with those three teams in the A tier. And like for every one of those teams, I was like, oh, this could be S, So.
Yeah, maybe we need an A+ tier.
or maybe we just move the three at the backside down to B. I mean,
I think they're A's. I know we're trying not to move things into S, and I feel like that's true, but I just feel like this is like the best team, right? We all agree, and then I think like these are all our like really solid S type teams. Like these would be like my favorites, all of them.
That's fair.
But like all of these could go down to A too. Like it's like right in that range.
yeah. I don't love like a huge S tier, but I'd rather
Full disclosure, everyone, I am not ranking myself S, but I will gladly take it from other people.
I think your team is good enough to be S. I think all of these teams are good enough to be S, especially in like other divisions. I feel like all in other divisions, like every one of these teams would be S.
Yeah. Well,
just based on what I've seen from other drafts.
Yeah.
I think our division drafted really well.
Yeah. Though at the end of the day, as I said, and I think we all agree, all 16 of these teams are viable. So when we get to something like that, we do kind of have this like pile up of teams in similar tiers.
Yeah, and I think the thing is like I think there's like a distinction between these four and these three. Like the last
why don't we
four
just add a S+ tier and just throw the Swamperts in there?
How do I do that?
I'll just do the little that.
Add a row above.
And then is that?
I think that's it. I think you just click the X.
Yeah.
This
And
becomes
and
S. Okay, hold on.
yeah, that's S, and you turn that into S+.
Got it. Yeah. Alright. So
we go.
let's move to our last one.
All right, my team. So I guess I'll just kind of I think I'm like P-Don's where I'm like my own harshest critic. So I'll just kind of state my where I think I could have done better in this draft. I went very hard on offense and didn't really pick up as much support as I would have liked. I am also lacking in speed controls, or at least obvious speed control. So I'm going to have to rely on more creative measures of speed control. Other than that, yeah, I mean, it's just a hyper offense team. You know, like I said, I was really targeting Thundurus with my first pick. I was going to go Thundurus Urshifu and then maybe do the nut core of Thundurus Urshifu Nihilego. I ended up changing it to the, I don't know, Nuz core with Zapdos, Urshifu, and Naganadel. So I went with the offense with the Moltres instead of the defense with the Torracat. I kind of was like torn on that, but I did like the offense a little bit better, and I think that my despite going double S, I then prioritized going with my lower tiers after that and saving my A tier to the last round to make sure that I got those strong C and D tiers to make sure that like I can bring every single one of my mons any week, and don't have like a mon that ends up just being a bench rider the entire season.
I would when I was looking at your team, I was thinking you've only got one traditional speed control mon, which is Starmie Trick Rooming. I don't think you're gonna want Starmie to Trick Room, but
yeah.
But like you also have a lot of combos, despite the fact that you have you have offensive mons, but you can also combo them kind of well. Like you could beat up your Mudsdale, you can do the Anger Point Tauros stuff. You've got ways to proc weakness policy on multiple mons. Like I would say and you know what, so Starmie too. Like that thing has been OU for years in Smogon. Like even though it's D, it hasn't forgotten how to actually kill things. So I would honestly say that you're your own harshest critic. Yeah, if you got another speed control option, it would be nice. But this looks like the draft of a 2-time defending champion.
I think the draft looks like as your opponent week 1. I think it looks scary AF. So there's that. I agree that like I wish you had a bulkier, better trick room setter, or even just a bulkier trick room stopper. Though you have Mudsdale, and I feel like you can beat up Mudsdale and it can be very useful. But I feel like you're gonna be it's gonna be harder to use Mudsdale in this composition. And I want Mudsdale to be so good. But it just feels like a little more difficult to use Mudsdale in this composition than say others. I also feel like this team could use a little bit of redirection.
Sure, for sure. This is the first time I didn't pick a redirector on my team, which I'm a little bummed about, but it was so hard with the tiers this year.
I know, it was so difficult. That's why I prioritized Volcarona. Like, I know that it's, like, not the best. Like, Rage Power, I got into this argument in the first UGA season about like whether or not Follow Me was as good as Rage Powder, and they were saying, yeah, it's just as good, it's just as viable, and he was like, that's why Amoonguss is so good. I was like, no, Follow Me is just, it's that much better than Rage Powder, and I agree. And but if you can't get one because they made Follow Me oppressive, then I wanted to at least have the other. But like like you said, there's no bench fighters on this team, and I love Magneton because on the Magnemites, it's kind of sort of my mascot. So I've never drafted it, but I still like it. And like having sturdy or analytic, still very good, still very useful. I don't love that it's your Steel Mon though. In your and you're missing both of your cores. So that was the
yeah,
other
so-
thing that I was looking at.
Mhm.
So I went with different cores, right? Like I went with the steel, the electric flying ground
Right.
core. I went with like the dark fighting psychic core. You know, I wasn't, I lost like two pieces or one piece of the fire water grass and one piece of the steel fairy dragon. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, there are some teams that don't necessarily need those cores. I feel like this is one of them.
Right, and it's honestly, you lost the ones that don't matter the most, right? You lost the grass and you lost the dragon, and both of those are just like not as.
no, I lost the
necessary.
fairy.
Oh, right. Wait.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You lost the fairy.
Dragon.
That's important. I feel like fairy's good. Fairy's just like
Yeah.
a good typing in general, and fairy would really protect Ganondorf a lot. But overall, I still think it's like a very, very, very solid draft. I wish that you had Tailwind and Trick Room.
Yeah. I don't
Or
think
better
that Starmie's going to be the best Trick Room setter here.
Yeah.
And I do agree, like, Mudsdale's a little bit out of place. My original...
So good.
I was thinking of doing Mudsdale, Virizion, and Sneasel with my tiers, but then Pedons took Virizion, so then I went with Moltres. But yeah, because I thought that, I like having the ability of like one Mon that can support multiple Mons.
Yeah. And I guess I was the only other person that could have taken Frostlass, and I didn't really want to, so that was safe for you.
Yeah, exactly. I just sat on that pick
Yeah.
for a while. Yeah, there's a couple picks I just sat on it, and my last pick, Naganadel. Originally, I was going for the Iligo, but my water weakness kind of started rearing its head, and I said, well, I'll take the dragon then. So
Yeah, but to be fair, it now has become your fastest mon, and anything that's like Cinderace or better, I feel like if you're in those speed tiers with something that is effective offensively, it's a pretty good mon.
Right, and you have like a couple of Airstream users, even though you don't have Tailwind. And yeah,
Exactly.
Like I said, I wish Speed Control was just a little bit stronger. But I think like you have a lot of combos on your team, and I feel like starting off with Zapdos and Urshifu, what would you have done? Because didn't Urshifu get mulliganed at the beginning? What would you have done if you didn't have Thundurus or Urshifu in your first two picks? It's just,
at the
you were
last
very
pick.
close, like to not having either of those.
Yeah. Well, as the last pick, I was just seeing what was coming to me.
Yep.
And what ended up started coming to me was the nut core, and I got taken the pick right before me as I started like really kind of wrapping my head around. All right, this is the direction I'm gonna go with my draft.
Right, and both of them, like both of the Urshifus went back to back. The one got changed to Venusaur, right?
Yes,
and then,
Exactly.
And then
So I think that I may have went
right
Sun.
After that was you think you would have gone Torkoal, Venu?
I don't know if I would have went Torkoal Venu. I probably would have went like maybe Venu Tails.
But see, Tails was A tier 2. Why not just go Torkoal?
True. Yeah, I don't know.
Try Scarf Hypnosis.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it just didn't end up unfolding that way. I mean, originally I really wanted Indeedee. I was thinking, oh, Indeedee will get to me at the end of the draft. But now hearing everyone's,
I don't think everyone's making it that far.
Yeah, I mean, Indeedee is my favorite redirector. So, but yeah, there was a lot of options. I really wanted Metagross. I really wanted Celesteela. I really wanted Thundurus. There was a lot of options
Our
that
draft
I
S
could have
went
went with.
so fast, right? I was the only person in round 1 to not draft an S tier.
Yeah. Through a lot of different drafts in my head, and literally every single one of them got taken in the first round. So it was Zapdos and Urshifu. I mean, I've played Urshifu so many times, and I hate going against it. So, if you can't beat them, join.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So where are we putting this team? Like I said, I thought it was like super solid. with the exception of this B people. I think it's an A tier team.
I also agree with an A. We can't rank the pilot when doing this because if we could, I might bump it up a bit because it's a 2-time defending champion. But based on the team alone, I say it's A, with the caveat that I absolutely expect you to make playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I would have put myself in B, so I'll take the A. I would say this is kind of what I expected. Maybe some of the Bs could end up in A, now I think about it, but like maybe the Frosties move up, but I think that this is kind of like, what I imagine the tier list looking like.
I mean, it's a standard bell curve distribution.
Yeah, and if anything, I don't even know if the C's are that bad. So
No.
They're good. Like,
I mean,
all of these.
you got a Metagross team and like can't remember what Gaz has, but teams. I play it week 2, and I'm not excited to play it. So
Yeah.
all I know is this is probably going to be one of the most competitive divisions in UGA.
Sure.
I agree. All right.
Any closing thoughts?
Please take all of our opinions as just that, opinions. Like, we don't know what's going to happen during the week, and pilots change how teams are. And like, even if you're C or in the B tier, you can easily, or even if you're in the S plus tier, you can easily lose a lot of games or win a lot of games. And the power rankings are not reflective of that. It's just how us, see your team. So don't hate us for it.
I think last season I just did like a written power ranking for the division, and I think that the 2 teams that I had in C tier ended up being like the 2 and 3 seed in the playoffs. So take that for what you will, as far as my opinions on everyone's teams.
Yeah, and to basically reiterate, I feel every team in this division has a realistic chance to make the playoffs. Like, there's no true bottom feeder in this division, so every week is going to be tough.
I don't remember.
No free wins.
Is it 6 or 8 this season? I know
8.
Is it 8 this season?
8.
Okay, so
8,
they
yeah.
did move the
Yep.
playoffs up. Okay.
But-
2 more.
So, all right. Well, everyone, good luck and have fun, and talk soon.
Yep, looking forward to playing, everyone.
All right.
All right. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you helping me out with this.
Thank you.